cried. It was at a wedding. I don't think it was the wedding, I think it was the microphone. So if I do cry tonight, it's this microphone. First, this is a very extraordinary event, so I do want to take a quick picture. Thank you. Thank you, Instagram, social media. Extraordinary events are fascinating. They fascinate us all. We all want to experience that once in a lifetime thing. For me, it's happening right now. But I think what fascinates me as an author are living through those and realizing that the day-to-day still occurs. You could be having the best day of your life and get in a petty argument with your partner. Those things happen. And for me, that's what it for lack of better words, that's what living is for me. To try to know how to endure through all of that, and realize we're all just people. We make mistakes, we break, we falter, we cry, we laugh, all while having these extraordinary moments like this. And really that's what Fishkoff's all about. For those of you who haven't read it, please, there's books over there. But if you don't want to buy it, I'll give you the quick notes. There's a meteor shower. It happens every 33 years. It brings this weird alien presence to Portland. It's set in Portland. And but during all of that, those huge moments, I start stripping all of that away in the story, because at the end of the day, it's about two people trying to make it work. So that's just a little bit about that. And I think this is one of those moments for me, realizing that extraordinary moments you still, you gotta wake up and you gotta put on your clothes. You trip. My brother's calling. Talk to him.
Answer it, let him
He's from upstate New York. He might say something very inappropriate. If you want to know these things, read Brutal Beast, my short story. There's a couple characters based on this. So anyway, I was spending all week trying to think of what I was going to say today. I wrote it out 10 times, no idea. I thought I was going to wing it, so I did the best I could do. The other thing that I'll say before I start reading is I dedicated this book to my daughter. She's here tonight. She's 3. I want to censor it a little bit. Most of my family's here, friends. It feels very much like a homecoming. I lived here for 15 years. I'm on a Portland press. I wrote a Portland book, and I'm reading it at Powell's. So I'm going to read from the prologue, and then I'm going to skip ahead to another chapter. Smoke shaped like a fish head hung over the warehouse. Bumper trucks and police cruisers flashed red and blue strobe lights, and volunteer firefighters crisscrossed the lob with choreographed precision. The blaze had been extinguished from the loading dock, all that remained. Soon the wind picked up, unanchoring the coal black smoke, the fish head cloud making glacial progress. It would soon dissolve into thin air, as if it had never existed. We lived in a strange world where alien objects fell from the sky and buildings could suddenly vanish. That was what had happened. It was the first meteorite of the shower to pass through the atmosphere and touch down. At the time, no one knew that a golf ball-sized rock, by the time it pierced the transformer box on the utility pole, had once been part of a meteoroid that measured 333 feet across and had traveled 62 million miles. At the time, no one knew that the blast of sparks caused by the meteoroid fragment zipping through the energized equipment would ignite the brittle gray leaves on the overhanging oak tree and eventually drop a small flaming branch onto the roof of the warehouse, where the maintenance crew had retarred and graveled a 6 square feet patch to prevent a leak, the spark causing a swift and brutal fire that raced across the surface and eventually ate its way through to the second floor ceiling and into each room below. At the time, no one knew that the jet black stone, as glossy as a bead of blue caviar that was wedged into the base of the oak tree, would be the cause of so much strangeness. Kevin brought this up here. No one drank it all night long.
I think that one person.
Okay.
Somebody. Sorry.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay. December 18th, the 352nd day of the year, 13 days until the new year. We watched The Babadook, a horror movie. I couldn't lay my head across Howard's chest, not like before, not like when we were younger, when laying that close would lead to sex. There was something different about him, beyond the silence, beyond the one shut eye. He was a different person. His hair was thinning, the skin around his temples pushing further and further back, more and more of him disappearing, us disappearing. I watched him watch the movie, one pupil darting around the screen. What was he looking at? What did he see through that one good eye? I wondered if the movie was watching us back. What would it see? Would it be bored? Two men a foot apart, motionless, passive. What if the Babadook saw me reach between Howard's legs? Howard shifted his hips away, and after a few seconds I said, "What's wrong? Are you mad at me?" Howard moved back, one eye like a cyclops. "Tired," he said, his speech still compromised. "I know it'll feel forced, but let me try." But nothing. "Touch you," he said, guiding my own hand back. The movie was ending. The character Amelia finally acknowledged the Babadook, the monster, as a permanent presence, like our lack of communication. Is this the way it's always going to be? 2 steps forward, 1 step back, the monster always present. He kissed my forehead, then rolled away. I did the same and closed my eyes. The liberty pose. But there was no freedom. No, we were prisoners. I dreamed of my father standing at the corner. I dreamed of my father standing in the corner of the room watching us. It was not a dream about black cats or souls like before. The room began to smoke, smoke from the floorboards, smoke from the walls, smoke blurring my sight. I could hear him, his soothing, wordless hum. Even in the smoke, even in the dark, the sounds became words. In the event of a decompression, Tommy, an oxygen mask will automatically appear in front of you. Place it firmly over your nose and mouth, son. Secure the elastic band behind your head and breathe normally, my father in my dreams said. If you're traveling with a child who requires assistance, secure your mask on first, son. Secure your mask first. Your mask first. Your mask first. You first, son. You first, son. Your first son. Your first son. Your first son. Chanting until I was enchanted. But like a needle scratching across vinyl, a terrible screech in the real world jarred me from this sleep and hurled me into consciousness. Gordito darted out of his birdhouse. I should say Gordito is Howard and Tom's pet squirrel. It's one of the weird things that happens after this meteor shower. So they're taking care of him. Gordito darted out of his birdhouse, nails digging into the Venetian blind as he raced up the wall. As I swam out of that dream, it was difficult to tell where I was, in this life or on some other planet. Howard turned on the bedside lamp, and Gordito shrieked with wild terror as a coiling black monster haunted him. We had fallen asleep watching a horror movie about a beast that sneaks into your home through a child's book. But this was no film. The bony creature in our room was in our room right now. As the sleep washed away, I could see clearly a black ferret. Howard whipped the comforter from his body, reaching for Gordito's empty birdhouse. In 2 steps, he rounded the bed, pitching the structure at the ferret, a wallop against the wall, followed by shouting at the front door of our apartment. So much noise and violence. But even with one eye, Howard moved like a trained killer. The ferret fell from the wall, regaining composure, and set its sights on Gordito again. The ferret's eyes, black like the meteorite, shiny and streaked with glowing white veins, an animal possessed. Howard lurched, seizing the ferret by the center of its body, and the animal coiled around his arm like a serpent, biting into his flesh, a swatch of blood on his forearm. Howard slammed the beast against the wall, uncoiled now, it fought back, flailing, flopping, teeth like needles and red blood, the sound of actual wildness. It took a moment to remember the beginning, before walls and computers and tools and medicine and farming, back to our basic survival instincts, the impulsivity of cavemen in the wild, strange world. Howard punched the ferret in the center of its mass and threw it to the floor. He stomped at the animal. I hoped he would split its head with his heel, but it darted between his feet. The pounding at the door continued. Is Tracy in there? A voice yelled. Don't hurt her. Tracy, the ferret, had vanished. Howard tucked Gordito into the small birdhouse, the roof nearly destroyed. He handed it off to me before he resumed his own hunt. Again the pounding. Howard opened the door. Later, we learned his name was Blaze, our new neighbor. Where is she? She's only at jail. A jail is a female ferret. Denim shorts, bare chest, arms tattooed with koi. He wagged an 18-inch strip of beef jerky and crawled around the floor. Tracy wanted nibbles? It's possessed, I said. You can see that, can't you? Blaze said, these animals aren't gonna hurt you, honey. He crept into our bedroom and stopped. He made a snickering noise like a rodent. Then reaching under the bed, he yanked the stealthy ferret from the darkness. Here we are, sugar. Blaze fed Tracy the beef jerky, and she relaxed in his arms. He's fucking bleeding, I said. Howard's arms on display for Blaze, now sitting Indian style on our bedroom floor with a ferret gnawing the meat. Even Howard, who to all appearances had such a mellow composure, born under the sign Libra, could not restrain his energy, shaking so hard I thought he was going to rupture. That thing's dangerous, I said. Blaze corrected me. Tracy. Howard was a bear trap ready to spring, shoulders drawn back, fists clenched. It tried to kill our squirrel. Squirrel, Blaze said. They're not domesticated. Howard had been bitten 3 times inside the wrist, on his ring finger, in his bicep. Blaze said, I'm guessing yours isn't a service animal? Get the fuck out, I said. Blaze held the prying animal who was scanning for Gordito, still on the hunt. Shh, honey bear, we're going home now. When they were gone, we opened the birdhouse, peeling the roof away completely, to find Gordito backed into the corner. He was an impressive creature. What did it feel like to be stalked, considered food, or simply something to kill to remedy boredom? Howard and I had once known a form of lust that at times we joked was animalistic. One of us the predator, the other prey, but fueled by a different kind of hunger. In the silence of our apartment, it was easy to imagine what would have happened if Howard had not intervened, if the worst had happened. Gordito would be dead. I would be crying. Howard would punch a hole in the wall. The ferret might also be dead. Blaze might have a black eye or a broken jaw, or he might be dead. Howard would be arrested. We would be evicted. In life, there was always if this, if that, if then, if. But this was now, and this was us. In a matter of minutes, Gordito no longer trembled, and he spied out at the peephole, sniffing the air. He chittered and ran onto the comforter, first scratching at the blanket, then curling into a ball. Howard looked at me. Are you okay, I asked. He nodded. He thinks for his family, I said. It's up to us to protect him. You make, he said, good dad. I stared at him blankly, not with disinterest or without emotion, but trying to understand how that made me feel. Would I? Howard held my hand, rubbing his thumb across my knuckles, and I squeezed his hand 3 times. 3 simple words. I love